The Deceptions of Ambition. Eric Maisel once said, "Ambition is vital, but dangerous. It is a keen motive and a driving force, but over what edge can it drive the artist?" Society deems ambition to be an essential quality of any individual. Undoubtedly, it is one's motivation towards success, but, as the quote implies, is your ambition causing you more harm than good? An excessive amount of ambition has many negative effects, impairing a person's rational thinking and instigating their demise. In Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, The Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller, and Hamlet by William Shakespeare, characters are seen falling victim to their uncontrollable ambition and suffering the consequences. Ultimately, with the untamed nature of ambition lies deceit. That can be the catalyst of one's downfall. This is important to me because I believe that knowing your limits is vital. Though society portrays ambition as a positive quality, it is one that is untamed. Thus, we must be mindful and learn how to tame our passions. To start, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. In Frankenstein, Victor's unchecked ambition results in calamitous consequences. He realizes that he is blindly obsessed with his seemingly godlike ability to bestow the power of life, thinking that his new species will bless him as its creator and discoveries. Victor merely believes that he is equal to God. Thus, in a sort of blasphemy, he tries to replicate what can only be done by God. In supposedly quote-unquote playing God, Victor is unaware of the responsibilities of creating a living creature, leading to the abandonment of his own creation. Consequently, this conviction of playing God only spurs his arrogance and creates a situation too complex for himself to handle. Victor's ambitions push him beyond his limits, thus resulting in negative repercussions for his creation, his family, and himself. Moreover, his ambition entices his complete disregard for integrality in his quest to create a being. In realization of the consequences of his ambition, he says to seek happiness and tranquility and avoid ambition, even if it be only the apparently one of distinguishing yourself in science and discoveries. While being possessed by his ambition, Victor recklessly commits acts of grave robbery and isolates himself from the world. Resultantly, his uncontrollable ambition merely prevents him from acknowledging moral boundaries. Therefore, the pain from the immense shame and narcissism is a repercussion of his ignorance. Ultimately, Victor's unbridled ambition leads to his tragedy. While creating a monster, he becomes one too. Second, In Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. Arthur Miller encompasses how uncontrolled ambition can be the cause of one's failure, specifically in Willie Loman's life. Now, Willie is so engrossed in the fulfillment of his idea of the American dream that he is driven to delusion and believing that he can park his car in any street in New England and the cops will protect it like their own. Willie's aspirations give rise to his dishonesty as he lies to receive validation from others. Notably, in his imaginative world, Willie's passions encourage his perseverance towards financial and social successes. However, his ambition leaves him in an alternate existence, where in reality he is straying away from fulfilling his view of the American dream. Willie fails to realize that his ambition destroys him as it prevents him from understanding the importance of facing his reality and acknowledging his failures. Furthermore, as Willie embodies blind faith in his ambitions, his convincing delusions entice narcissism. In consideration, Willie arrogantly says, "Even your grandfather was better than a carpenter. Go back to the West. Be a carpenter, a cowboy. Enjoy yourself." Considerably, Willie is too proud to admit his current financial struggles, which prevents him from realizing that there are other ways of success rather than attaining his own version of the American dream. As Willie is reluctant to acknowledge his defeat, he simply believes that other people are inferior. His ambition causes him to act aggressively, which results in excessive ignorance and heartlessness towards morality. In effect, Willie is brought to the realization that his ambition is what set him up for failure. All in all, Willie's suicide is a repercussion of his inability to come to terms with his destructive ambition. Lastly is Hamlet by William Shakespeare. Now, Shakespeare emphasizes that prioritizing personal ambition and power inevitably leads to tragedy. The effects of Hamlet's suffocating ambition is seen when Guildenstern says, "Which dreams indeed are ambition, for the very substance of the ambitious is merely the shadow of a dream." Guildenstern notes that one's obsessive ambition can stem from dreaming to achieve a goal. Hamlet is overpowered by his blinding passion for avenging his father. Inevitably, as his passions cloud his judgment, his goal for vengeance turns into a deadly obsession. Hamlet's infatuation with his ambitions causes him to isolate himself from others who cared for him and destroy all of his relationships. In effect, Hamlet's well-being deteriorates as he places his ambitions above all else. Considerably, in Hamlet's "To be or not to be" soliloquy, he says, "Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing them, to die, to sleep." Hamlet's conflicting thoughts regarding life and death are a repercussion of his excessive ambition. He is caught in a dilemma where his ambitions make him skeptical, thus preventing him from fulfilling his plan. Unquestionably, Hamlet allows his passions to take advantage of his well-being in hopes of achieving his goal. Evidently, in the quest to avenge his father, Hamlet's prioritization of his ambition corrupts the lives of others and himself. Conclusively, with the untamed nature of ambition lies deceit that can be the catalyst of one's downfall. In Frankenstein, Victor embodies the true image of a monster due to his unchecked ambition. Next, in Death of the Salesman, Willy Loman suffers repercussions of his inability to come to terms with his detrimental ambition. And finally, in Hamlet, Hamlet exemplifies the consequences that result from prioritizing his ambitions. These texts prove my credo statement and justify the significance of being mindful of the lengths that you go to fulfill your ambition. Though it can bring great success and motivation to a person, it can also breed horrible consequences. Ambition is deceptive, and its impact should never be underestimated. Now for some food for thought. Is taming your ambition the key to success in your life? Thank you for listening to my presentation.